Welcome back to Elden Ring. And this isn't Elden Ring. Oh my god, Keith, you've been playing it so much that literally I have that stuck in my head now. I'm blaming you.
Look, sorry, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring. That's why we haven't been uploading.
Hey, to them, they don't even know, because it's still on a pretty decent schedule, so... We just haven't recorded in a while, because Keith's been playing Elden Ring, and I've been helping him, because I don't do anything. And anything interesting. But now we're back. And we're gonna hopefully finish this chunky chapter.
Yes. Wait, what? Oh god, wait, hang on.
Is it not moving for you too?
Oh wait, hang on. Nope, this is not.
Oh lord. Oh no.
Give me a hot minute.
I'm giving you the hottest of minute.
Just close out of my super legit hardware. Try this again.
Yes, everyone enjoy the cricket noises.
Come on, go.
Eh.
Okay, alright, I think I got it.
Are we ready? Okay.
Is this where we left off? I can't freaking remember.
I don't remember either. But I think it is, because they were literally just establishing the plan on how to infiltrate and emotionally murder this stupid, scammy company.
Right.
So, I'm gonna say this is correct.
Sure.
Once Alco has an established plan, she will not waver from it. They had made a cafe with a view of the office building, their command center. Also, if anyone hears a fan in the background, it's because it is really fucking hot outside, and I'm not going through that. You're gonna have to deal with the fan. The fan noises are going to be your problem now. And after they got together, others from the student council... And after they got together... Others... That phrasing of words is weird. After they got together others from the student council for backup, their one-day blitz tactic plan began. I want this over with quickly. You two take care of all of the communications. Let's get this done today. Tobimaru sighed at the thought of trying to complete everything in a day's time. Kinomi, on the other hand, wondered why he had been dragged in to help.
Good question, buddy. Good question.
It's because he started this. He dragged our good innocent boy into it. That's why.
You know what? Fair enough.
Although Tobimaru had gotten Aoko to abandon the idea of a physical fight, Aoko knew that the contact plan would be difficult to pull off and continued to research other options. There were many conditions that needed to be met for this plan to actually work. The major issue was the amount of time elapsed from the time of purchase. For consumable goods, the time limit was for a legal return was 8 days. If there were 30 or so victims, they would probably only be applicable. They would probably only be applicable to 1 or 2 of them. If that was the case, they needed to look for some other consumer protection besides the satisfaction clause.
Wait,
really? If items of low value are sold at an unfair price, the contract may be invalidated as profiteering? However, this must be founded in public order and morality. Doesn't this generally always favor the seller? Courts can't punish solely on the basis of suspicion. We'd be at a disadvantage if it came to an extended argument. It was a difficult situation. They wouldn't be able to stand up to an experienced group of scam artists. While they limited knowledge of their law. They'd need to fight fire with fire, or in this case, a scam with a scam. So basically, we scammed them out of the same amount of money they scammed out of the victims. To do that, they needed more intel. Aoko was studying the materials they'd collected for something they could use. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for waiting, everyone. I've got the address of 10 additional candidates and one of the actual quilts sold. Thank you. You really get things done fast when you put your mind to it. Aoko took the list of victims from the Student Council's secretary, Kojika Kumari, and immediately contacted Tobimaru on his pager. Although pagers could only receive short messages like, "Call me," they were a powerful means of communication in an age where people relied on public telephones. Tobimaru called the cafe to give Aoko an update and hear the list of the newly discovered victims. You've got all the victims together? Like Aomoya... Oh my god.
Aoyama?
Aoyama? Okay. I don't know what my brain was trying to read.
Aomoya.
I know that what the first part said, and I know what the second part said, but the middle part was... Let Aoyama handle the proceedings. If you could get some business cards made up to throw them off, they'd be helpful too. Remember that fake organization we made up for the school festival? Use that and put the phone number on the cards. We can have Mr. Yamashiro field the cards. The victims' advocacy group was currently at just over 10 members. The group's aim was to help the victims of the scam get their money back and remove themselves from the light of truth. Some of the victims had not even realized they'd been scammed, so with some explanation, about 10 more members were added. It helped that it was polite, young, well-dressed students who were giving them this information. The elderly generally seemed more accepting of anyone who was around the age of their grandchildren. You've done a good job getting this far. We got our goals of 20 people in no time. You laid out all the conditions clearly, which made it easy for us. We looked for anyone over the age of 60 who lived alone and was not a member of the local neighborhood association, which did exactly what the salesperson from the Light of Truth did.
なんでなんとかなる話じゃないと思うけど。結局のところ、抗議するのが関の山じゃ。
It's still going to be all we can do to okay. To make a
ちょっと
complaint
何薄気味
against
悪い
them.
顔で笑ってるのよ。
Azaki, what's with the weird smile all of a sudden? Aoko looked up after being called out by her friend.
いやー、面白いもん見つけちゃって。
No, I just found something very interesting is all.
成果の乏しい戦いになると思ってたけど、風向きが変わったわ。
But this might change the tides in our favor.
この羽毛布団の
Look
マ
here
ー
at this tag.
ク。ん？
Huh? Aoko showed the product label sewn into the down quilt. There on the tag was what looked like the Japanese Industrial Standards logo. The Japanese industrial standards helped maintain the quality of industrial products in Japan. Products with this mark were required to be produced in accordance with the Industrial Standardization Law.
あれ？ JLS？
JLS?
そう。こうなると契約書が逆に武器になる。
works in our favor.
百戦錬磨かと思ったけど、実際はウサギしか相手にしない素人ってこと。ええ、うまく話を持っていけば全額返済の夢じゃないわ。勝利の勝ち抜きはさぞ気持ちのいいものになるでしょうね。
Aoko took a seat, still grinning from ear to ear. She didn't ring Tobimaru's pager. Instead, she dialed a different number on the red phone while humming to herself. Aoko heard the familiar ringing tone through the receiver.
青崎、築地に連絡入れるんじゃないの？
Azaki,
作戦
I
が変
thought
わ
you
っ
were
たって。
calling Tsukiji. You need to tell him about our change of plans.
それは後。
I
今
will
大事なの
after
は
this.
交渉役を
Right
誰
now,
に
I
す
have
る
to
かよ。
figure out who to put
私
in
や飛び
charge
丸
of
じゃさすがに
negotiations.
貫禄不足だし
I
ね。
don't think Tobimaru or myself could do such an important role justice.
こっちが有利になったとし
Even
て
if
も
we have the
まだ
advantage
状
for
況は五分
now,
だし。
we're still in an evenly matched battle.
会話次第じゃひっくり返されるだろうから。
They could completely
被害者
turn
の
the
会の
tables
代
on
表
us in
は
discussions.
それはもう少
So
年
we
の
need
ひん曲がっ
someone
た悪魔でない
ruthless
と。
to represent us.
それあんたのことだと思うんだけど違うの？
I thought that was going to be you.
いえいえ、こういうのは社会的立場のある大
For
人
this,
じゃ
we
ない
need
と
an
務まりません。
adult with some kind of social standing.
安心してくまり。
Don't worry, I actually know the
ぴったりのやつを知ってるから。
perfect person for the job. Can you imagine she calls her sister?
Oh god, no.
I know it's not, because obviously plot, but...
ま、詐欺師には詐欺師ってね。
Let's just say you need a scammer to fight a scammer.
この町には人を言い
Only
まかすのだ
someone
けが
whose
仕事
sole
のやつっ
job
て言っ
is
ち
to
ゃっ
win
たりするの
arguments
よ。
against people in town.
今日もや
I
ることな
thought
く
she
て
had
暇して
anything
るだろ
going
う
on
し、
today, so
た
I
ま
thought
には
we might put
働
her
いて
to
もらわ
work.
ないと。彼女にかかっちゃサラ金だ
Anyone
ろう
who
が教
goes
祖
up
だ
against
ろう
her
が、
is
1
guaranteed
時
to
間
have
で
a
精神崩
mental
壊。
breakdown
私
in
で
an
山に
hour.
逃げ込むわ。
No matter what kind of scam they're running. Aoko kept the phone receiver at her ear as she delivered these cutting remarks. The ringing tone had long since gone silent.
もしもし、まさかとは思いますが、今の話は
Hello?
私のことでしょ
I
うか？
don't want to assume anything, but were you talking about me this whole time, Aoko? An eloquent woman's voice could be heard from the phone's earpiece. Aoko innocently said her greetings and smiled like a hunter who had just gotten their prey to take the bait. Whoever this is, I don't think we've met them.
常々
No,
思っ
we
てい
have!
ましたね。
It's the
Oh.
nun! Yes, nun mental breakdowns, let's go. You know, I've always thought this about you.
あなたには年長者への
But you
敬意が
really
足り
don't
てい
have
ないよ
enough
うですね
respect for your elders,
青
Alco.
子さん
Huh?
Tobimaru and Kanomi have returned from their tasks and stood there wide-eyed. The person Alco had invited to the cafe looked so out of place that it was a shock to everyone.
はーい、ゆいかさん。わざわざ来ても
Thank
らっ
you
て助
so
か
much
る
for
わ。
coming, Yukiya.
事情は電話で説明したけど、もう
I
少し
pretty
詳
much
しく
told
説
you
明
all
す
the
る
details over the phone, but is there anything else you want me to go over?
結構です。本物の
That's
光
okay.
のことは
I received a
先
full
ほど
report
リツカ
about
か
the
ら
light
報
of truth
告を
from
受けましたか
Mitsuka.
ら。
I do
あ
not
なたに
require
享
any
受していただ
lectures
く
from
事柄は
you
一
on that
つもありま
matter.
せん。ありま、ご機嫌なのね。
Well, aren't you?
よかった。
Well,
そ
aren't
の
we
テンショ
in
ン
the
のまんま
mood?
勝ち込みお願いね
It's。perfect, though.
一
Take that
般人に
attitude
一
to
人
them.
や二人。
When you're in
ゆ
the
いかさんが
zone,
本性
your
を出せ
glare
ば、
alone
睨
is
むだ
enough
け
to
で
make
そっと
someone
させられるで
faint.
しょ。
そうなの？このお姉さん、間教会のシスターさんだよね。
Whoa, seriously? Isn't this a lady? Isn't this lady a nun at Ida Church? I actually look up to her.
いや、そんな場合じゃ
Ah,
ない。
crap.
どうも、木の実
That
の
was
助っ
not
人
the time.
青崎さんとは
My
あんま
name
り
is
仲良くあ
Hosuke
りません
Kinomi. Ozaki and I aren't really friends.
Kanomi was clearly trying to earn points by showing that he also was not that friendly with Alco. Sister Yuika gave him an angelic smile back.
これはご丁寧に。
Well, hello
アイダ
there.
教会で
I'm
装
indeed
飾
a
を
sister
務
of
める
Ada, at
ス
Ada
セイユイ
Church.
カです。
My name is Yuika
はじめまして。
Susei. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hosuke.
いや、すんげえ。
Ah, this is crazy. She really is a nun. I can't believe you had something that's amazing up your sleeve the whole time, Alco.
あれ？でもユイ
Wait,
カさんに
but
何してもらうの？
what are you gonna have her do?
俺
I
は
mean,
いてもらう
I'm
だけ
fine
で
with
嬉
just
しいけど
having her around in general. Of course, you freaking are.
Of course you are.
Ah.
Yeah. Mhm.
大体想像
I
できる
think we can all imagine.
はじめまして
It's a pleasure to meet you, Sister Yuika. My name is Tobimaru Tsukiji, student of the Council Vice President.
Tobimaru didn't look so well. Perhaps he had figured out where this course of events was headed. The JLS label was indeed illegal. This discovery made Alco realize how they could get the victim's money back and run the light of truth out of town completely. Sister Yuika was her solution.
てっきり証拠に物を言わせて
I thought the plan was to let the evidence do the talking, and if they don't want to be sued, get them to settle it out of court. They'd pay back the money and get out of town. But this is something else. She doesn't want to just kick them out of town. She wants to fleece them for all they've got.
は？
Eh? I mean, how can she even do that? I mean, I know she's beautiful, but does a nun really have that kind of power?
シスターさんがじゃなくてユイカさんの人間力
It's
と言う
not
べきね。
because she's a nun.
これ被害者の会からの
That's just
連
the
盟
kind
書
of。pull Yuika
一応う
has
ちの
around
応援
here.
団の先輩たちも待機して
Anyway,
るけど、
here's the
何
signature
人
of
か連れて
everyone
い
in
く？
the advocacy group. In the advocacy group. Fucking English is hard. Whoever designed English should be rolling over in their grave. How dare they? The cheer team is also helping. Do you want to talk to them some of them?
そうですね。逆上して手を挙げられては後片付けが面倒ですので。
If things get too heated, it's going to be a pain to resolve later. Let's just bring 5 to keep the peace.
あとは青子さんが同行してくれ
You're
るのでした
also
ら、
welcome to accompany me if
私
you'd
とし
like,
ては不
Alco.
満はありません。
え？どういうこと？
Eh?
もしかしてシスターさんが
Wait,
話
is
し
Yuki gonna go talk to them?
会長の
I thought you were going to do that. I thought you were going to do that, Prez.
いいのいいの。
No,
Yuika-san
no, it's
はこう見え
fine.
て
She may
荒事の
not
専
look
門
it,
家
but
なん
she's
だから。
actually a specialist in these kinds of
Yuika-san?
situations. Isn't that right, Yuika?
あなたほどではありませんが。
Not as much as you, but yes, you could say that. Since that office is indeed operating an illegal business, I'm willing to help. We both will benefit after all. Sins must not go unpunished. They must feel the pain that they inflicted upon the good people of this town. You certainly live up to your reputation, sister. I'm sure you'll win. You've been crushing the competition for a long time now. Yes, well, there's simply no need for two schools of thought in a single person. Though the two continued to antagonize each other, they entered the office building, fighting for the same team. The 5 burly members of the cheer team filled in behind them. They barely left behind a glum... Oh, they had left behind a glum Tobimaru and a completely clueless Kinomi.
I really don't know what's going on. What is Aozaki trying to get that poor woman to do for her? Oh, you do not even want to know the kind of cruelty Aozaki is capable of inflicting upon her enemies. Once they get the company to terminate everyone's contracts based on the illegal sales, the two will take legal action against them. And that's where Sister Yuika comes in. She's far more qualified than Aozaki, who's just a student. I've heard some less than savory rumors about that church, too. This company will be lucky if losing all their funds is the worst that happens.
Damn. After taking a few deep breaths, Tobimaru had headed towards the office building.
You're going in there, too? Isn't it a little scary? I'm not going. You crazy? I just have some business to attend to. You need to get back to school. I'll compensate you for all this later, don't worry. Man, you know school's done by now, right? It's almost night. Hey, it was fun though. Wow, you're right. Half the day's gone.
Tobimaru waved goodbye and disappeared into the office building.
Huh?
Wait, what?
Konomi thought it was strange since Tobimaru had just said he wasn't going in there. However, he left as well after hearing a noise that sounded like glass breaking on the 3rd floor of the office building. A wise man never courts danger, as they say. The discussion ended without any major issues. The inside of the office was mostly untouched. Only the center line of desks had been pulverized by Sister Yuika. Things had been resolved peacefully without any bloodshed. The office had been conquered in about an hour. Naoko was now surveying it. A large desk had gone right through the window, flung through the air with a single swing of Sister Yuika's hand. The sales staff were shaking in the corner like they'd just seen the devil incarnate. Sister Yuika brought in the 5 members of the tier team to seize the office's permits and other important documents. Huh? Unfortunately, the one thing Aoko was looking for was nowhere to be found. She went to ask the sales staff, still quivering in the corner of the room. About 3 hours ago, did you see a harmless-looking teenage boy come in here? I know he hasn't left the building, so he must still be in here somewhere. Everyone shook their heads no. Nobody had seen a student who fit that description in the office. Aoko was looking even more confused at this point. Ah well. She was still happy that she'd done a good deed for her here today. Tobimaru entered the office building and headed straight down the hallway. He glanced at the stairs in front of him as he walked by, passing several tenants, and headed towards the emergency exit at the back of the building. Tobimaru knew the geography of 2nd Street well. If his memory served correctly, there were some old one-story houses behind the building that had been around forever. They were old tin-roof rental houses that stood against the tides of time. Though overshadowed by the recent trend of 2-story apartments, they were still there, alive and kicking. At the back of the office building, there was a river for processing wastewater. Beyond the river and a fence, there were many one-story houses. Next to the building, there was a bridge that crossed over to the other side. It was a shortcut only neighborhood locals would know about.
This is a pretty intense shortcut. Maps can't help you here, that's for sure.
As Tobimaru walked towards the bridge, he saw a familiar face exit one of the old tin-roof houses. The young man was wearing a coat and was without a doubt Sojiro Suzuki. See you tomorrow. Sojiro crossed the bridge while the old woman who resided there was seeing him off.
Huh? Is that you, Tobimaru? Yo! Fancy meeting you here, Slick.
The two exchanged glances as they crossed the paths on the bridge. Sojiro looked faintly spent. That was all Tobimaru needed to see. Sojiro's new job was a lot harder than working for any scam artists. They both stopped to talk on the footbridge.
You have relatives around there or something? No. I was just keeping the old woman who lives that company. Someone told me about it, and it sounded like something I could do.
For some reason, Sojiro readily revealed that he had refused to tell Alko. What he had refused to tell Alko.
Oops.
It's okay, you're fine.
Is it okay to be talking about it? Sounds like something they might want to keep. Sounds like something they might want to keep secret. No, it's fine. It's not really anything I need to keep quiet about. I just thought maybe I shouldn't before. You saw me coming out of there, and I actually might have been wanted to tell someone about it. I didn't want to complain, but since you asked.
Leaning on the rail of the footbridge, Tobimaru urged him to go on. Turned out that Sojiro's story was nothing out of the ordinary. His new part-time job was being a home helper to that old one-story house. This resident was a widow who had been left alone after her son moved off to the city.
At first, I was just helping around the house.
He spoke with a troubled, slightly regretful smile. Maybe he was ashamed of something he'd done? There was a tinge of darkness behind the wry, tormented smile on his face. Tobimaru found himself surprised at his own thoughts and slapped himself lightly on the cheek. Smack. This was his way of punishing himself. He wasn't sure why his imagination was running so wild now.
You seem oddly glum, though. Oh, I get it. You have a problem with the son who left his mom like that, even though she clearly needs help around the house, huh? I wonder. It is an odd story, I think. But I don't really mean to blame him. I mean, that's...
Sojiro stopped himself mid-sentence. He didn't think the son hated his mother so much as he did the town. He'd probably just found somewhere better to live and moved away. Sojiro swallowed those bitter words. Can you make the words go away? I really like this background. Okay.
You got
They're
it?
so cool. Yes. I like it a lot. Them on the bridge. It's so cool.
Fair enough. At first, I took the full amount as payment. But I thought 100,000 yen was way too much for a job that'll only last a month.
He trailed off, muttering that he really didn't need that much money. The old woman had thanked him for his honesty. That was part of Sojiro's appeal, most likely. In a matter of days, the old woman put all of her trust into Sojiro and treated him like her own grandson.
I was honestly happy about that. The problem is...
She always saw him off with a smile and asked him to return tomorrow. Every time he left, she gave him a stack of cash in the hopes that he wouldn't forget her.
Whoa, really? That's what you're getting all the money from? Yeah. She says she wants me to be a grandson. She says she can trust me, so she wants me to act like I'm a grandson. Wow, that's crazy. It's hard to believe, but I guess a grandson for hire isn't much different from a house helper. Nah, it's different. She said she doesn't pay helpers because she can't trust them. She says that she can only trust money.
She seemed to have some quirks about her, probably because she'd been living alone for so long. By this point, she'd lost all faith in the goodwill of humankind. But then a boy came down from the mountains. To her, the bonds of a family were nothing but fantasy. After being cast aside by her own family for so many years, the only thing that remained faithful to her was the money she'd saved. Over time, this led to her developing a strange complex. For her, the money she'd scrimped and saved, the last thing she could rely on, was the only way she could conceive to keeping someone in her life.
Man, that's crazy. She's just hiring help. It's not like she can just buy a grandson. I think she knows that more than anyone. Even if she knows it ain't real, that's just how hard it is for her to trust anyone. What she wants most in this world is for her grandchildren to visit her. But since that's not happening, she turned to the one thing she could trust to make that a reality.
She wasn't buying him now. She just trusted Sojiro from the bottom of her heart and was thanking him for thanking him the only way she knew how. She didn't realize how that looked from other people's perspectives.
Well, looks like you've gotten yourself into a real sticky situation again. But hey, try not to worry about it too much. I mean, it's a nice story. She's found something in her life that's even more important than money. It's something to be proud of. Really? I hope so.
It was obvious that Sojiro's expression, that all of this still weighed heavily on him.
Oh, come on. Cheer up. Knowing you, I bet you haven't spent any of the money she's given you. Are you saving it all to give her back to her when she's inevitably runs out? Is that why you didn't tell Aozaki? Huh? How do you know? It was just a guess. But I know how you are.
Tobimaru decided it was best not to tell Sojiro about all the trouble that went through him today. He knew Aoko would only make him regret it later if he did.
So, let me tell you the worst thing about all this. The truth is, this old lady don't have any grandchildren. Huh?
After a few moments of surprise, Tobimaru let out a sigh. He understood. Being widowed with a son who's moved into the city and grandchildren on a visit. That was a normal, full, and rich life. Sometimes, however, a person's dreams were all that kept them going. The bottom is limitless. For every tragic life, there's another even more tragic than that.
You know, sometimes this town catches me off guard. Everyone looks so happy and blessed, but if you look hard enough, you start to see that that's not always the case. It's like the entire town is fooling me.
Tobimaru leaned over the railing and looked down at the bustling town below. In the end, Sojiro's worries stemmed from his feeling lost in this environment. The woman who walked through life alone into old age. Tobimaru's struggle was being antagonized by his entire family. Those were both personal matters. Sojiro's problems stemmed from the nebulous entity of this town itself. For every bit of progress made through modernization, there were also people left in growing misfortune. It didn't matter whether they were unequal in wealth or compassion. It was all the same. The larger a town grows, the harder it becomes for the weak to thrive. For a young man who spent his life in the countryside, where everyone helped each other, this was hard to understand.
Sojiro,
Sojiro, do you really like it in this town? Honestly, don't know yet. What about you? Simpler. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't matter either way. Then again, I'm kind of the total opposite of you. In town, I can ignore my problems if I want. It's better than a place like this, anyway. There's something to this bustle and chaos that you can't discount, even if it does feel hollow at times. Yes, better than here? Not exactly. I just mean that I'd have more options. I'm sure you've thought this at your part-time jobs, but a town like this never leaves any gaps. Wherever there's an opening, that opening is going to be filled. A city is a really well-constructed community when you think about it. Someone you never knew the day before might be a neighbor you need to call on the very next day. A street corner that had nothing on it yesterday might have a new building on it today. Every single day in the city is like living through a major surgery in progress. It's seriously impressive that it works as well as it does. Something always makes me think that. I'm not just living on my own. I'm able to survive thanks to the accomplishments of people I'll never know about. It's all a bunch of give and take. The fact that it works at all is a feat in and of itself.
Just as the mountains are alive, so is the city. Tobimaru didn't seem to like the way that living creatures had manifested itself. But even still.
I see. You really respect it, huh? I mean, it's a little embarrassing, but yeah.
As someone who was born and raised in the city, Tobimaru was thankful that complete strangers were able to help each other out.
Honestly, you're just asking for too much. Nobody likes where they live in the beginning. You can't choose where you were born, after all. You have to learn to like it wherever it is you decided to live, not the other way around.
I will tell you, there's like a complete, I have this gut urge to just ruffle Tobimaru's hair. Because I don't think there is a sprite for him with his hair down. It is always just pushed back. And I just want to know what it would look like if it was in his face.
Oh.
But I'm never going to know, because there is no sprite for it.
Lol.
Which is a travesty. Which on the Holy Night Part 2, give me Tobimaru with his hair down. Give it to me. Give it to me.
To be like that.
Movie, give it to me.
Okay.
Somebody, please.
Okay.
Anyways, make your little gaw noise. Tobimaru gave Sojiro's back a hard slap. It made Sojiro straighten up his posture and snap him out of his slump for a bit.
Okay, but what if you decide to live somewhere and you just can't like it no matter how hard you try? If you really don't like it, you can just move somewhere else. Don't be scared to run away from a bad place. You're meant to wander a bit in life. There it is.
Sojiro was so impressed at Tobimaru's words, he couldn't speak. They gave him a new perspective. It wasn't just the words, "Don't be scared to run away from a bad place." What had really left a strong impression was Tobimaru's confidence. Although he had been born in this town, he spoke freely about abandoning it.
Never thought I'd hear you talk about running away. There's nothing wrong with running away if you have somewhere to run to. That's not to say that you shouldn't hold on to words like victory and success, or fortune and fame. I just think it's easy to feel stifled if you're always trying to win. I don't have the willpower of someone like Aozaki who can just power through things. I like to keep life Light.
になっても突き進むパワーもねえしな。心情は軽い方がいいだろうよ。
You think life is better when it's light?
いや、軽いとか手
I don't really mean lightweight or secure or anything like that. I just want more adventure or, you know.
No, he doesn't. There's nothing behind those eyes. You have to explain in detail. Tobimaru furrowed his brow at his inability to find the proper words.
Yeah, come on. There we go.
Is your totally legit hardware not letting you do things?
No, it's fine.
What he wanted was simple.
Look, I just want to live a life that I can laugh about.
That was how he saw life. Tobimaru tried his best to put into words his thoughts, hoping his friend would find them useful. I feel that.
Like a comedian?
Deep sigh. Tobimaru's shoulders slumped in disappointment. But even so...
Actually, yeah, sure.
The more he thought about it, the more he realized that Sojiro wasn't really wrong. There was no end to human desire. The perfect life was an unobtainable dream. The only way to really win was to be able to say that your dying breath, to say with your dying breath that you had truly enjoyed living.
Tsukihime? Ah, man, I wonder if this is Osaki's influence. She's the type to take a gamble on anything. I bet she loves Bonnie and Clyde.
Who's that? Tobimaru tiredly scratched his head. He never would have said something like this last year, considering how pessimistic he had been then.
Anyway, there's no end to it if you worry about everyone else's business. Look, sun's already going down. We've been out here forever. Sorry to keep you. Do you have somewhere else you need to be doing? Nah, maybe I'll just be good and head home. You should get home before it gets totally dark too. If they ask you what you were doing, just be honest. It's not as bad as you think it sounds.
Sojiro frowned and fell silent. I just imagine he's like, so this is what I was doing, and she's like, I took down a minor crime syndicate because I thought you had been kidnapped by it.
Yeah.
And you were just helping an old lady. That's just how I feel like it would go in that household, you know? He still hadn't come to terms with his arrangement with that old woman yet. If he hadn't gone there in the first place, she might not have felt like anything was missing from her life. That feeling of regret was exactly why he wanted to talk to someone.
I bet you think you've done something cruel to her, don't you? Like you showed her something that she can never have. Am I right?
He's like an open book. Sojiro was stunned into silence. Tobimaru knew exactly what Sojiro regretted.
You shouldn't think that you have that much power over someone, Sojiro. Listen, if she thinks she messed up her life, then you should do whatever you can to help her. She's stinking rich, right? Then get her to help people with it. There's so many problems in this world she can just fix with her money. If you can get her to be proud of herself, then you've done a good job. It would make me happy at least. But that still don't get rid of her suffering. Oh, don't worry about problems that you can't solve. Focus on the problems that you can help with. If you can convince her to let you give that money back so she can use it to help others and herself, then she's won. That will give more meaning to her life than a fake grandson ever could. But if she says she's done enough and she wants you to have the rest of her money, that means you've won. She'd prefer to think of you as her grandson. If that's the case, then there's no shame in taking that money from her. I see now.
Sojiro clapped his hands together. He was finally able to accept these conditions as fair.
Hey, thanks for the talk, Tomomaru.
His smile was no longer bitter. He would do whatever he could to help that old woman choose to assist others in need. Tobimaru thought that such unwavering confidence was the sign of true freedom.
Oh, don't worry about it. I needed it just as much as you did. See you after the break.
His goodbye wasn't the friendliest, but Sojiro didn't mind. He ran home with a big smile on his face. Tobimaru's smile was a bit less carefree as he left the footbridge. The time was 4:30 in the evening. It's already that sunset?
Damn.
Alright, Japan, sure. I don't know what your time zone is like. Night would soon fall over the midwinter landscape.
I'm home. Looks like it's gonna be a cold one tonight again.
Aoko and Alice were both in the drawing room when he returned. Neither of them had eaten dinner yet. Aoko looked displeased. Alice sat uncomfortably on the sofa.
Huh? Were you two waiting for me to get home?
Alice quietly affirmed his assumption. Aoko vehemently denied it.
Aozaki, might just be imagining things, but you seem even more worked up than you were last night.
Sojiro had gotten slightly better at reading the room, but he still had difficulty choosing the right words. I'll show you worked up, was what she wanted to say, but she stopped herself. She wasn't actually all that angry with Sojiro. But... Wait, what are you worked up about, Aoko? I'm not worked up about anything! If anybody's worked up about something, it's Sojiro! Alice's additional remarks seemed to have been the tipping point. Sojiro thought this showed she was indeed worked up about something.
しずきくんがどうかしたの？彼、
You think so?
今夜は比較的
I
まと
thought
も
he
だ
seemed
けど。
more normal than usual tonight. Sojiro felt that was pretty offensive too, but let it slide. I love his little pouty face, it's so cute.
そっちから切り出すまで黙っていようと思ったけど。
Fine, if that's
私
how
の
you
方
want
か
to
ら聞いてあ
play
げ
it.
る。
I was going to wait for you to say something, but I'll just go ahead and ask.
宗十郎。あんた、
Sojiro,
本物
have
の
you ever
光って名
heard
前
of
に
an
聞き覚えはな
organization
い。
called the Light of Truth?
いや全く 初めて聞いた
No. Now before now.
でしょうね。名簿にあんたの名前はなかったもの。
Your name wasn't in
なんだ
their
ってあんな
records
勘違いし
anywhere.
ちゃったんだろう。
Look what you've messed up so badly.
骨折り損とまではいかないけ
Wasn't
ど、
all that not?
また良くない
Wasn't
評
all
判
for
が出
naught.
ちゃった。
Now I've seen more bad rumors afloat. Uncle let out an exaggerated sigh and flopped down onto the sofa. Seeing Alco in this weakened state as an opportunity, the blue robin flew jauntily down from the sunroom. Oh, I love you, British again.
見てたっす。見てたっす。
I saw
ご近所じゃもうおひれつきま
my
く
own
りっ
Vince
す。
Pay,
青
Vince
崎くんとこの
Pies.
娘さんが
The whole
また
neighborhood
指
is
一
like,
本に見せつ
oh,
け
that
したと
Aozaki
か
girl's
マジ
gone
パ
and done
ニ
it
ー。指
again.
先一つで
She
ダウン
took
と
down
か
a whole
どこま
business
で
with
都
a
市
snap
伝
of her
説からキッ
fingers.
ズか。
You ain't no of a legend at this point. Robin continued to chatter praise for Alco's deeds of valor. Oh, but Alco knocked it away with a flick of her fingers and picked herself up off the sofa.
今日はお金持ってないわね。
I see.
例のアルバイ
Don't
トは
have
もう
an
終わったもん。
envelope of money today. Is your part-time job finished?
いやまだ続いてい
Nah,
るよ
it's still going.
あのお金
I'm
は
actually just
先に
holding
だ
that
から
money.
朝
I
のうち
made
に
a separate
口座を
bank
開設
account for it and deposited it this morning.
預かり物？
You're holding it?
そう
Yep,
預かり物
I'll be giving it all back
きっと全
eventually.
額返すことになる
Sojiro took off his coat and began talking about his job as a home helper. He kept it simple, explaining how things began and the conclusion he'd come to with Tobimaru earlier. Alco seemed stunned by the outlandish circumstances, but in the end...
はいはい、やっぱりね。
Okay,
安
okay, I
心し
should
た
have
っていう
known.
か、
I
が
don't
っか
know
り
if
したっ
I'm
ていう
relieved
か
or。disappointed.
そうよ
You really
ね。
are incapable
ど
of
う
doing
頑張
any
っても
wrong,
悪事を
aren't you?
働ける人間じゃないわよね、あなた。
She was back to her usual offensive self. However, there was another girl in the room who had, at this point, gone pale.
待って。ということは、それは
So
し
you're
ずきくん
saying
のお
that
金
wasn't
では
your
ない。
money?
ああ人様のお金だよ
That's right. I'm just holding it for someone else.
アリス？
Alice?
なんかとんでもない顔してるけど、
The
どうかした？
expression on your face right now is something else. Are you okay?
それが、
No,
どうかはしてないけど、
I just
出
ordered
前はした
takeout.
わ。はい？
Huh? Alice handed out menus for the local soba noodle shop and a cafe. The blood drained from Alco's face as she took everything in. Alice quietly passed her a small note. On it was a hastily written order that was more than enough food for the three of them. But you already ordered?
だって、
Well,
そろそろ
yeah,
ごちそうの
I
タ
thought
イ
it
ミ
was
ング
about
かと
time
思
someone
って。
treated us. So she just yoinked his money, which isn't even his money. Alice's accusing gaze fell on Sojiro.
Huh? Me? Why?
Because you got everyone's hopes up. I was looking forward to you treating us to dinner, you know. Sojiro clapped his hands together for the second time today. He remembered that Alice had said that yesterday. Yes, and you agreed. Alice was eager to emphasize that this was not her fault.
Yeah, but...
Alice may have messed up, but it's your fault too. This is why you shouldn't walk around with so much money. I hope you've learned your lesson. You two are just going to have to split the bill.
Hey, no way, I can't. That money's in the bank, and I only have 500 yen on me.
He's right. Even if we pull our money together, we won't have enough. Can we cancel the order? An air of despair fell upon the Kuwanji estate. Ako sighed as if none of this involved her. She hated to coddle them, but perhaps this was her fate. I should have known this would happen. It's fine, I'll pay for it. I got some unexpected income today, so I might as well use it. Ako's sudden proposal made both Sojiro and Alice perk up.
Wait, you're gonna trade us, Aozaki?
I can't believe my ears. Are you sure, Ako? You've already called in the order. Can't cancel it now. If you called them earlier, they'd probably already be on their way up the hill. I got this money because of Sojiro anyway. It's a thank you present for the victims' advocacy group. Felt weird taking it from them. This way it goes back into shopping the district anyway, so don't worry about it. I do think it's a bit of a waste though, if I'm being honest. Her roommates began celebrating. Ako sank back onto the sofa on the sofa upon seeing the happiness her gesture brought. Oh well, easy come, easy go. All that extra money gone just like that. And thus, the curtain closed on a little incident involving a lot of cash. The blue robin flew down to the table again. Now I gotta be cotton again. That one knock you right off your godlicks, right? Your godlocks. The robin chirped and mimicked puffing on a cigar. How? With what fingers?
As one does.
Anyway, all that aside, let's always remember that remember this as the Dosh affair, so that we never forget the gravel and grit Miss Aoko dragged herself to. The blue robin continued to laugh as the day's hero. There it goes. Ako flicked the bird away with just as someone knocked at the door. Alice had ordered her favorite omelet dish and a set of cakes for the cafe. Might as well enjoy. Ako was quietly satisfied with the spoils of an honest day's work. And that's the Carnegie case!
Nice.
Yay! We did it! We finished it! God, that's a thick-ass book. What's the next one? Oh, there's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them.
Oh, I guess each one tells you about a different ploy?
I guess so.
Fun. And then I'm pretty sure the adventure of the Honest? Is that what this is? The Honey Adventure. So it's the adventures of the honey on the spine of the book, I guess.
Sure.
But I guess that's where Alice Penguin is. Since it's after the main story ends, but before the aftermath.
Right.
So I guess that's where Penguin Alice is, and we'll have to do that next time after the World of Ploys. Alright, say goodbye.
Later, gamers.
We're gonna go buzz off now. Bye-bye.